Okay, so in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a 3D spaceship, and it's going to look similar to this. I'm going to follow this tutorial that's on the Google Classroom, parts 1 and part 2. I'm not going to follow them exactly, but I'm going to be pretty close. So when we start out, it just says start out making a box. So I'll come into 3ds Max. I want to maximize this viewport. So click on the plus, maximize the viewport. Click on the box, and I'll go ahead and just create a box. Now my box is not going to be exactly the same size as the one here. You notice they have 19, 95, and 10, and mine is like 75, 16, 13. That's okay, just as long as I'm pretty close. Next, I need to right click on this box, and I need to convert it to an editable poly. And what that does is that allows me to not just modify the box, but modify like existing parts of the box. So if you notice, I can like click on individual faces of the box rather than the whole thing, or polygons. This is called a polygon, so I'm able to select specific polygons, and that's actually what we're going to want to do. So we click on this polygon thing right here, and then we're going to click on the front polygon, and I'm going to click on the extrude button right here. So you'll notice, like, if you're not on anything, we got to click on the box, click on polygon, make sure that the front polygon is selected, then I click on extrude and I pull this out. Now you'll notice in the tutorial when they extrude that front polygon, it's like a box pops up, but we don't see that box on ours. That's because we don't have the wireframe or edged faces on, so we need to make sure that under default shading right here we clicked edge faces, and then we'll be able to see that edge. So notice how that looks like that. Okay, so far we're doing good. Now I'm going to want to click on the select and uniform scale, grab the whole thing, so make sure that all X, Y, and Z are selected, and then I just pull down. Alright, so far so good. Now I want to select this top polygon right here. I'm going to, and then I'm just going to kind of create this right here. So we select the top polygon. So I've selected the top polygon. Now I'm going to do what's called an inset. So I'll click on inset, click, and I drag down just a little bit. Okay. If you take a look at the directions, that's what was done right there. Then I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to click on the select uniform scale resize. Just on the y-axis, I'm going to kind of pull that down. I'm going to move it on the y-axis that direction, and then I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. Okay? So if we look at the directions, that's kind of what they got right there. Then we want to extrude this. So I'll come in here. I'm going to click on extrude. I'll pull this up just a little bit, kind of like that. Then I'm going to click on the select and uniform scale, only select the y-axis, and I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, so that looks good. Now I want to make my wings. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to select this polygon right there. Now I'm going to hold down Alt in the middle mouse button, hold down now Control, and I'm going to click on this. So if you notice, both sides are selected. The way that I did that again is I select one side, Alt middle mouse button to rotate around. Now I hold down the Control key and I click on that one. So Alt middle mouse button, you can see that both sides are selected. And now what that's going to do is I can do an inset here. And then I'm going to click on the select and uniform scale, kind of scale it down on the z-axis. Then I'm going to click on extrude, and I'm going to extrude this out once, twice, 3 times. Alright, so that's pretty good. Alright, now I'm actually going to go to the top view here, so I can click on top, zoom out a little bit, so I'm scrolling out on the middle mouse button, that scroll wheel. And now I'm going to click on something that we haven't clicked on yet. I'm going to click on these vertices right here, or the little dots. Click and drag, and I'm going to drag a box all the way around these. Hold down the Control key, click and drag, and I'm dragging a box all the way around those. Now I can pull these back, kind of notice. Okay, now I'm going to click and drag a box around these, hold down the Control key, click and drag a box around these. Now notice these are not selected right there. Drag these back a little bit further. Okay, and then I want to grab these last two. So I'll select these two, hold down the control key, select these, and we can really pull these back pretty far. So it kind of gives a cool look to our spaceship there. Alright, now that I have that, I'm going to want to kind of make this tail. So I'm going to kind of go to the back. I'm going to click on the polygon, click on this back. We want to extrude this guy. And I'm going to extrude him out once. Extrude it out twice. Kind of right there. Alright, now that I've done that, let's kind of click on this top part right here. Yeah. And then I'm going to click on an inset. And I'll kind of do a small inset here. Then I'm going to click on the select and uniform scale, and on the x-axis I'm going to make that smaller. I'm going to click on extrude, have it come up, up, and up. And then you notice I got these right there. I'll select that guy, hold down the control key, hold down control. There we go. So I've selected both of those. Let's go ahead and extrude those out now. See how I extruded those out. And then let's actually pull those wings back. So I'll click on my top view here. Click on my vertices. Select these. Hold down the control key. Select these. Click on select and move. And I can drag these down on the y-axis. And that looks pretty cool right there. Now let's make some thrusters on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my polygon. Select this guy. Hold down control, select this guy. So now I have both sides selected. Let's do an inset here. And then I'm going to click on the select and uniform scale. Kind of make this smaller. Let's extrude this out. And then what we can do is we can do a bevel. So what the bevel will do is allow us to like make this bigger. And then I can extrude this out here too. Kind of like that. Alright. And then we're going to select these front two polygons. And I'm going to extrude these out just a little bit. And then I'm going to use the select and uniform scale. Select the whole thing. Scroll down. And then now let's look at the back of these. Let's just go ahead and select both of these. Do an inset on these, and we're going to make it a small inset. I'll click on the select and uniform scale, scale that down on the z-axis, and then I'm going to click on the select and move this in on the y. So you'll notice that I've moved both of those in on that y-axis there. So that looks pretty cool, like that. Now underneath this, I want to set up a couple of rockets. Okay, so I'm going to click on the bottom of this guy first, and we're going to go ahead and extrude this out. So I'll click on the bottom, extrude the bottom of that out. And now that I've extruded the bottom of that out, I can click on the vertices, select both of those vertices. Now click on select and move, and I want to move these up on the z-axis. Just like that. And then I'm going to select this front polygon, do an inset on the front polygon. Let's go ahead and use the select and uniform scale. I'll kind of make that kind of square, and then click on move, and I'm just going to move this back on the y-axis. About there. That looks pretty cool. And then let's make some rockets underneath these wings. So I'm going to select, I got these two guys right here. This is where my rockets are going to go. So I'm going to do an inset on these guys. Okay, so now that I've done that inset, you'll notice that these aren't exactly square, and I kind of want them to be square. So I'm going to click on this vertex, and I'm just going to select this guy right there, hold down the control key, select that guy right there. And then I'm going to move these guys down on the y-axis. Now I'm going to select this guy, hold down the control key, and select that guy, and move them up on the y-axis. So I'm just trying to create two squares right there, which I kind of did. Okay, those are pretty good. Now I'm going to click extrude. Kind of rotate around. I'm going to extrude these guys down. Alright. And those are really wide actually, so that's okay. Here's what I can do. Alright, I'm actually going to hit Control Z and Control Z. Let's go ahead and actually modify these. Now that I have this as a square, I'm going to select those and click on the select and move. I'm going to move them down, and I'm going to select these guys. Hold down Control, 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 select all of those, move those up. I want these. There we go. That one. This one I think I actually need to move up just a little bit more. There we go, to make a nice square. Alright. Now I can extrude. So now I'll hit extrude. There we go. Now I'll hit bevel. So I hit bevel. Okay. And now I'm going to extrude that out again. Control Z. Whoops. Let's click on that guy, click on that guy. Let's go and extrude these out. And maybe that's not a perfect shape right there. That's okay. I can click on this guy, click on that guy, and let's go ahead and extrude these out. Okay, and then do another extrude, and then click on the select and uniform scale. Scale those down right there, and then on the backs of these guys, I'm going to want to select both of these, and we're going to do an inset. So do an inset. That looks good. We got to select and move. We're moving this on the y-axis in. So there we go. So there we go. So now I have my rocket, kind of. That looks pretty good. And then you'll notice in the directions they use this mesh modifier called mesh smooth. So I'm going to find mesh smooth in this list. Mesh smooth right there. It kind of smooths out the whole thing right there. So that looks perfect. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'd want to take a screenshot of this and upload it to the Google Classroom. So to take a screenshot, I hit print screen, which is right next to F12 on the keyboard. Select the whole thing, and then we want to save as. Save this as our, I don't know, rocket.png, and then you'd want to upload that screenshot to the Google Classroom. So let me note one thing on here. You need to complete this rocket. So you notice right here it says you have to do a screenshot of the tutorial spaceship, which is what you just made, and then you are also going to need to create your own spaceship using the same technique. So make sure that you include some rings or a rocket, some type of cockpit. The design is up to you. So you're actually going to make two different rockets. The one that you're just going to follow the tutorial that I gave you, and then you are also going to make your own spaceship, kind of using the same process. So you want to use the editable poly, and you want to use kind of these things down here. So you'll create a box to start with, right click on it, convert it to an editable poly. You want to use the polygon tool, you want to use extrude, inset, and bevel. Alright, hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.